information today is this press
Press
release
release, yeah.
from Quinn Emanuel, Urquhart and Sullivan, a big-time law firm.
Big time. I've heard of those guys, yeah.
They put this out on April 3rd, 2025, very recently.
Okay, very recent. So this is hot off the presses then.
That's right.
Got it. Piping hot.
All right, I'm ready.
So at the heart of all this is the APERTUM Foundation.
APERTUM Foundation.
And this guy, Joseph Haidt.
Okay.
They're kind of butting heads with the Texas State Securities Board.
Oh, those guys.
Which, you always hear it shortened to TSSB.
TSSB, yeah, the regulator.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Now, the TSSB, they've hit the APERTUM token with a cease and desist.
Oh.
The token, by the way, that's APTM if you're following along at home.
APTM, yeah, writing that down.
Jotting it down. So cease and desist, that's not good.
Not good at all.
What'd they do?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out today.
Okay, all right, I'm hooked already.
So listeners, this is your mission.
A mission, all right, I love it.
If you choose to accept it, of course.
Of course.
We're going to try to understand what each side is saying in this legal fight.
Okay.
What are their main arguments, Yeah. What are the big sticking points?
Yeah, where's the conflict?
Exactly.
I want to know what they're beefing about.
And, maybe even more important,
okay,
what does all this tell us about cryptocurrency and how it's being regulated?
Ah, the big picture stuff. I like it.
Right. Like, where does crypto fit into all the existing rules?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
All right, let's break it down.
So, first things first.
Hit me with it.
The TSSB. Why are they so riled up?
Yeah, what's the big deal?
Well, according to this press release,
okay,
they're saying that APTM, this APERTUM token,
right,
it's an unregistered security.
Unregistered. So they're saying it's a security, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, and that's really the crux of the matter.
That's a big accusation. Why is that such a big deal?
Because, you see, securities, they have all these rules and regulations around them.
I hate rules.
Nobody really loves them.
Well, maybe some people.
Maybe.
But not me.
But they're there for a reason.
I guess. But why for securities specifically?
Well, securities are all about investments, right?
Yeah, that's true.
People putting their money in, hoping to make more money.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
So the regulations exist to protect investors.
To protect investors, all right.
They make sure that everything's transparent.
Transparency, that's important.
It is, and they ensure that companies disclose all the necessary information.
So investors can make informed decisions, I see.
Exactly.
Okay. That makes sense. I guess rules aren't all bad.
No, not all bad.
So the TSSB is saying APTM should have been registered with them.
Exactly.
Before it was even made available, like at all.
That's their stance, yeah.
Okay, so they're saying the APERTUM Foundation skipped a step.
Right. They're saying, hey, you should have come to us first, filed all the paperwork, done everything by the book.
Okay, so that's the TSSB's side of the story.
Right.
What about the APERTUM Foundation? What's their defense?
Well, they've got Quinn Emanuel, these heavy-hitting lawyers on their side.
Oh, yeah, those guys. This is getting interesting.
And they're coming out swinging.
I bet they are.
Their main argument, they're saying, hold on, APTM, this isn't an investment contract.
Oh, okay, so they're not even playing the same game.
Yeah, they're saying it's a utility token.
A utility token? What's the difference?
That's a huge distinction in the crypto world.
Okay, break it down for me.
So a utility token, it gives you access to a specific product or service.
Like a key to unlock something.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay, I get it.
But an investment contract, that's all about making money.
Ah, so that's where the security stuff comes in.
Exactly. It's like you're buying into a company expecting profits based on their work.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And there's this thing called the Howey test.
The Howey test.
It's this legal framework that helps determine if something is an investment contract.
So they're using that to figure out if APTM is a security.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the APERTUM Foundation is saying, look, our token, it's not about speculation, it's about utility.
It has a real use, not just a way to get rich quick.
Right.
Interesting strategy.
And to back that up, Quinn Emanuel, they point to the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Oh, yeah, the big dogs.
The SEC recently clarified that crypto mining in itself, it doesn't automatically mean you're offering or selling securities.
Interesting.
So Quinn Emanuel, they're drawing a parallel.
Okay, I like where this is going.
They're saying, look, the main way you get APTM is through mining.
Mining, yeah.
And the SEC says mining isn't necessarily a securities thing.
Okay, so they're saying APTM isn't a security because of how it's created.
Right.
That's smart.
So if APTM isn't a security, then all those registration requirements.
Ones the TSSB is upset about.
Right, those might not even apply.
So This distinction is really important.
Huge.
This could have a massive impact on APTM.
Oh, absolutely. This is about whether they can even operate freely.
Wow, so this is more than just a technicality.
Oh, for sure.
This is about the future of APTM.
And this whole debate, security versus utility token.
Yeah.
That's a battle being fought all over the crypto world.
It's the Wild West out there.
It really is.
So they're saying mining isn't a security, all right?
But what about people buying and selling the token?
Yeah. What happens when it hits the exchanges?
Well, the press release makes it very clear that neither the APERTUM Foundation nor Mr. Haidt are directly selling APTM.
Nowhere.
Nope, not directly.
Okay, so how do people even get it then?
There are two ways.
Two ways. All right, lay it on me.
One, mining.
Okay, we talked about that. Buying a mining bot through that DAO1 platform.
Right, that's the first way.
All right, and the second way?
Buying and selling on those third-party crypto exchanges.
The open market. Got it.
So, remember how we said the TSSB is claiming APTM is being offered in Texas?
Yeah, that was their whole thing.
Well, they actually acknowledge in their own documents.
Oh, really? So they admit it?
They admit that the DAO1 mining bot, the thing you need to mine APTM, it's not being offered for sale in Texas.
Huh. So that kind of weakens their argument, doesn't it?
It does a little bit.
So they can't get them on offering it directly through mining in Texas.
Right.
But what about those exchanges? Can't they go after them for that?
That's where things get even more interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
Quinn Emanuel, they're bringing up legal precedent.
Precedent, so like previous court decision.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're saying that courts have generally decided that when something's traded on the secondary market,
like on a crypto exchange?
Right. Those transactions, they don't count as securities sales by the original issuer.
So APERTUM Foundation and Joseph Haidt, they're off the hook for those trades.
That's what Quinn Emanuel is arguing.
Okay, that makes sense.
The idea is once that asset is out in the wild.
Out in the wild. I like that.
Once it's on the open market, being traded between individuals.
Yeah.
The original creators, they're not the ones selling it anymore.
It's like a used car.
Right.
Once you sell it, you're not responsible for what the next owner does with it.
Exactly.
So APERTUM isn't selling it in Texas, and the exchange trades don't count.
Right.
Their argument's starting to sound pretty solid.
It really is.
But they don't just stop there.
Right. No.
There's more.
They go even further to prove they're not targeting U.S. investors.
Oh, how so?
They talk about all these measures they've implemented on their DAO1 platform.
That mining platform?
Yeah, the one you need to mine APTM.
Okay, what kind of measures?
Well, first off, they say they're using geo-blocking.
Geo-blocking, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so if your IP address shows you're in the U.S.
You won't even access the platform.
It's blocked.
That's pretty serious.
It is. They're not messing around.
But what if you use a VPN or something?
Well, that's where their second measure comes in.
Okay, what's that?
They require KYC, know your customer.
Oh, yeah, the identity verification stuff.
Right. So if you try to use the platform
yeah,
and you submit U.S. documentation,
you're out.
You're blocked from depositing funds, making transactions, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, they're really making it difficult.
They really are.
But there's a third measure too, right?
There is, and this one's pretty telling.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
When you're signing up for DAO1, there's a drop-down list of countries.
Right, to choose where you're from.
Guess what's not on that list?
The United States.
The United States.
Wow, they really thought of everything.
They're really trying to cover all their bases.
It's like they built a fortress to keep U.S. users out.
That's one way to put it.
So all this ties into Quinn Emanuel's bigger argument, right?
It absolutely does.
They're basically saying, why is the TSSB even bothering with us?
Right. Why are they using taxpayer money to go after a project that's not even targeting Texas or the U.S.?
It does seem a bit excessive, doesn't it?
They're framing it as an overreach of the TSSB's authority.
And a waste of taxpayer money.
Exactly.
So they're saying the TSSB's actions are basically out of line.
Out of line with how the law is usually interpreted.
And out of line with how most people understand U.S. securities laws to work.
Especially when you're talking about digital assets operating internationally.
It's a global market. These lines are getting blurred.
They really are.
But there's one more piece to this puzzle.
Ah, the settlement agreement.
The plot thickens.
Right. So it turns out Mr. Haidt and a few other folks, they already settled a similar issue with a bunch of securities regulators.
A bunch. Like how many?
43.
43, that's a lot.
From both the U.S. and Canada.
Wow, so this isn't their first rodeo?
Nope, they've been down this road before.
All right, so what's the problem then?
Well, Quinn Emanuel, they're claiming that the TSSB is going against that settlement.
So Texas is reneging on the deal.
Essentially, yeah, and Quinn Emanuel says they didn't give proper notice or any good reason.
Oh, that's not going to look good for the TSSB.
It's not a good look.
Especially since the settlement's still in place with everyone else.
With the other 42 jurisdictions, yeah.
So everyone else is on board, except Texas.
It seems that way, which makes you wonder what the TSSB's angle is.
It does raise some eyebrows.
It does.
Like, what do they know that everyone else doesn't?
Or are they just being stubborn?
Who knows, but it definitely adds another layer of intrigue to this whole thing.
It really does.
Before we move on, can we talk about Quinn Emanuel for a second?
Absolutely. They're a big part of this story.
I mean, they're the ones fighting this battle for APERTUM.
Right, and the press release makes a big deal about how experienced they are.
They're not just some random lawyers.
No, they're the big leagues.
So what makes them so special?
Well, for starters, they're the biggest law firm in the world.
The biggest in the whole world.
That's what they say.
Wow.
And they only focus on one thing.
Business, litigation, and arbitration.
Yep, that's their bread and butter.
So they're experts at this kind of stuff.
They eat, sleep, and breathe legal battles.
And they win a lot. Right?
Oh, yeah, they brag about their track record in the press release.
Like how much?
Over 2,500 cases that went to trial.
That's a ton.
And they won 86% of them.
86%? That's impressive.
It is. And they've gotten huge settlements and verdicts for their clients.
Both defendants and plaintiffs.
Oh, they play both sides.
So they're not afraid of anyone.
And get this. Big corporations, they've ranked Quinn Emanuel as the most feared law firm.
The most feared? That's kind of badass.
He gets a serious reputation.
So APERTUM hired the best of the best.
They're not taking any chances.
They're going all in.
They're putting up a fight.
This just got real.
So let's recap all of this.
Okay, time to synthesize.
What's the real issue here?
At its heart, it's about how to classify APTM.
Is it a security or is it something else?
The TSSB, they're convinced it's an unregistered security.
They want to regulate it, bring it under their control.
But APERTUM, they're pushing back hard.
They're saying, no, it's a utility token.
You get it through mining or you buy it on exchanges.
And we've taken steps to keep it out of the U.S.
So it's your word against mine.
And that's the million-dollar question for you, listener.
What's a security in the crypto world?
Where do we draw the lines?
And what role should regulators play?
Especially with these international projects.
It's a tough one, right?
It's uncharted territory.
This whole case, it highlights the tension between the old rules.
The ones made for traditional finance.
And this new technology.
Decentralized, global, constantly changing.
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, in this case in Texas, it could have huge implications.
Not just for APERTUM.
But for the entire crypto industry.
Absolutely, it could set a precedent.
So we have to ask ourselves,
what does the future hold?
If every state starts making its own rules,
how will that affect innovation?
Will it stifle growth?
Will it limit access to this technology?
These are the questions we need to be thinking about.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
But one thing's for sure.
This is just the beginning.
The battle over crypto regulation is far from over.
This is just the first shot fired.
And we'll be here to break it all down for you.
Every step of the way.
So stay tuned.
And keep learning.
Because the future of finance
is being written right now.
And it's going to be a wild ride.
Hold on tight.